Okay, so I'm going to start a new project. Okay, normally when you started, you have all this. You could ask for the templates. You have different templates. You could have templates for on phone and tablet, for wearables. It's based more on watches. You have for the TV and for automotive. And you could use not at all, okay? But you have a lot of. If you want, you could also create application use C++. Okay. But one thing about C++ is normally that you have to deal with different platforms. For example, if you want to read C++ for Samsung, you need to compile it to Samsung. If you need for LG, you need to compile it. You need to deal with that. Okay. We are going to use in this course probably this empty activity one, okay? Because the simplest one, I think it's going to be easier for you to follow with that. Okay. So next, then we have here what we are going to be using for them. Okay. My application, I'm going to call it Hello Android. Okay. Package name, normally Java code gets separated to packages. Okay. Now it's the way that Java used to organize. That way you could pick up a package and release as a library for third parties or maybe for yourself. So normally you need to have a package name. Normally we put con dot the name of the company, the name of your project. So for example, here we could put con dot exigelec dot hello Android. If you want to put something else, there's no problem at all. Okay. Here where it's going to save it. Okay. Here you could deal with the language. Java or Kotlin. We are going to stick with Java. And here you set the minimal SDK that's needed to run your code. Okay. If you see here, help me choose, we can see the different SDKs that we have. If we choose the latest one, that's the version 33, that's the T version. We only have 5% of the market share. Means what? 5% of all the mobile Android phones in the world will have this version installed. If you use the first one that have here, the 4.4, you have 100% probably. Or 99.8, something kind of like that. Okay. So if you choose like Marshmallow, have 97%. And here on the side we can see what features, specific features do we have when it was released, when it was last updated, and all the features, new features that this version released. So we can check, oh, I need the Turbo API. Oh, so I need the version 29. Okay. We are not going to need the Turbo API, so we can stick with older one. So for example, 7 Nougat, I think is good enough for us. And then we press finish. When you press finish, your application normally, it shows here everything that's doing. Normally the first time that you created, it says Gradle doing stuff. Gradle is the builder that is come from Java, that is a package manager, actually. In order for you to have the Android application, you need a set of packages for it to work. And since you have a lot of different versions, if you want to get this application to someone else, the best way is not for you to send the package, because package could make it huge. So the idea is for what? It sends the application with the minimum, and has here the Gradle scripts. Here on the left have all the files on your project. You could have all the definition on your application And you have here on the bottom the dependencies. Everything needs to install it. It needs to be installed. All the package needs to run your application. Okay, we're not going to change anything here now, but just for you to know that this is the requirements that the application needs. Okay. So we have the Gradle. The Gradle is the package manager. We have all settings and that kind of stuff. And here on the we have the manifest here. That has all the basic information about the application. For example, the name that's going to be used, the icon, it will allow backup of this application or not, the active that's going to use, the target, API, the theme that's going to use. The themes are the color the application is using. Okay, you can use themes that already come with the operating system. For example, this one is already there, defined, and you could define our own themes. Okay, it's kind of like the chorus that you're going to use. Okay. We have here the Java code that we have here in the package, the main activity, and if you want, if you later on we're not going to deal with this here, but if you're going to release like a product that you're going to put on the store, that you need to give maintenance, that you need to upgrade, create a new version. Normally you work with tests, test-driven development. Okay, you test the main functionalities of your application automatically. So create all the tests normally here. Okay, we're not going to deal with that, but they have it here. And here we have the resource folder that have all, they call it REST, but all the resource of our application. For example, we have here the drawbles. Is the, for example, everything that's drawable. Here is the two drawbles to create the icon. It uses a language based on XML to create images. Normally image, you have two types of images. Normally you have the vector type and the raster type. The raster type is like kind of like JPG, BMP, PNG, that you have an image that is divided in pixels, and on the file normally says the color of each pixels. And you have vector images that normally you can use here, this language here. SVG is another technology. Also, we have one also from Adobe that use on Illustrator. So the idea is to have what? On XML, you define what's going to be drawn on each point. So here it says to be a path with this fill color and with this path is the data of the path. Okay, and it knows how to interpret and how to draw it. One thing that's good about vector image is what? Since it's code, the image itself, it knows if the image is bigger or smaller. While if you are on PNG, if you have a little small image and you put bigger, you probably end up have like a really crappy image. And this way you don't have that. Okay. We have here also MIP maps. Okay. This is like images. Okay, for the icon. Okay. One thing that we have to deal with images on Android is what? Different sizes. Okay, so we have a size of high DPs, mid DPs, extra high, extra high, extra high DPs, or anyone that doesn't fit on these categories. Because if you have an icon that's this size on a phone this size, okay. But if you have on the TV, probably going to need a bigger icon. And if it's an image, you could not look good on the image. So normally designers provide this with different resolution for us. I also have here on the values. Okay. Normally all the swings on application we define here on the swing file. For example, here the app name is Hello Android, but you could have other definitions here. And also the colors that you're going to use. And here we can define also the themes. Normally nowadays we use two themes, themes for a definition of the colors, the normal use, and the night mode. Okay? Night mode is got really big because it's better for the eye, right? I use everything on night mode nowadays. And also have here some XMLs just from rules about how we should back up and how data extraction should also do about the cloud backup. Okay, if you have specific rules about that. Sometimes you want what? You are delivering a bank application. Probably all the sensitive data you don't want to be put on the backup. So you have to deal with that specific aspects. Let me. Okay. But during your course, we're probably going to work most with two files. This layout file here and this Java code here. Okay. This XML file. We work here on the interface builder. It's an interface that we could move objects, put objects here. But if you want, when I start programming on Android, we just have this, the XML. But they're pretty much the same. This just say you have a console layout that has a text view with some properties. But normally we work with the design that we have. We can drag and drop. We can change the position of objects using a more natural way to interact with visual stuff, right? So this is just a layout that says hello world. It has a text view here saying hello world. We have the play button here on top. And if you press play, probably it's going to start the emulator. And probably it's already installed the emulator for you on the device. Not all the emulator on this computer are working. I saw that from yesterday, I thought from people of EasyBad. So here says installing. And install it and show it for me. Hello world. Our first Android application. One thing about this emulator, it's emulate the whole device, so we have the basic keys and also the basic application for Android. Okay, so you can interact just like a real phone. We can change this, for example, instead of hello Android, here on the right, we have, when you select it here, you have all the properties of this component. One properties is here text, so hello Android. I could change it to hello ExigELEC and then press play again. It changed again to, because it's already running. And you could play. And it didn't change because I didn't change here, right? It didn't change. There we go. I think now it's going to change. So it changed here also. Okay? So every change that you made here, you need to press play in order to change. Okay? I'm saying that because nowadays some platforms you have live rendering. What's live rendering? You change it here, it all changes here as well. Okay? But Android doesn't have that yet. Okay, any questions so far? Everything good? So we are close to the meal. Let's take a little break, like a 15 minutes break. And then we are going to create buttons and then also edit texts. And I show how we can do that, interact with this layout into the code. Then I'm going to pass a little exercise for you. Okay? That's for your schedule for today. 按驱动